Welcome back to the Mystery School. My name's Darren, and in this video we'll be exploring the theme of creativity. I was going to say vibration, but that was the previous video, and this follows on from the vibration video. And in that video, what I did was explore the vibration of our greatness and how your greatness created your identity by forming beliefs, and how in forming the beliefs operate according to the vibration of polarity, like a pendulum. And it's because of the polarity of the beliefs that locks us into the pretend world of our identity. And it's actually the collective vibration of our beliefs that kind of keep us within our own unique vibration as well. And what we'll be exploring in this video, in this creativity video, is how to go to the top of the pendulum of each of your beliefs and be able to cross the threshold into your own magical world to bring what you love to life. And do that by building a higher structure in your magical world. And what this does as well is accelerates you along your own transformative heroes or heroines journey. So that's what we'll be exploring today. It's not essential, but I do recommend watching the video on vibration beforehand. If anything, this video is a nice flow on from that in the curriculum of the Mystery School. So having said that, I do recommend that you watch it. I'll include the link in the video below for you, in the description below for you. So I'm going to share my screen and then start exploring this whole theme of creativity with you. So you should be able to see my screen now. And in terms of going to the top of the pendulum of each of the beliefs, let's go back to the unlovable belief, because you'll recall that I explored that in a lot of depth at the beginning, in that our greatness created our wounds as a result of seeking 100% love from your mother of your greatness and 100% orientation from your father of your greatness. And if you didn't get that 100% love, and none of us do, it hurts, and that's how we form the wound. And as a result, we have to compensate. We have to rationalize why we didn't get the love. And then we make up that, well, it must be because I'm unlovable. And that's how we form each belief. And that's how we form this particular belief as a result of making that up. And then the polarities are how we define ourselves as a result of forming that belief. And also what we believe we need to do in order to get the love. So in other words, we go to one extreme of the pendulum if we believe that we have to be good in order to be loved, or we go to the other extreme of the pendulum if you assume that you're bad as a result of being unlovable. And that's how the pendulum also swings, because if you're bad, then the tension is that you've got to be good, and then you cause the pendulum to swing. But you can also, as a result of being good, resolve the tension and go, well, I'm sick and tired of being good, I want to be bad. And then the pendulum can swing. And you recall from the previous video that each belief has its own polarity and it swings like a pendulum. And what we tend to do unconsciously is try to resolve the tension of one belief by either avoid one polarity by avoiding the other extreme, or going to the other extreme to compensate. But when we do that, we're still locked into the pretend world of our identity. And so the way to get out of this and to not be subject to the swing of the pendulum, or the law of rhythm as it's called, is to go to the top of the pendulum. But that's also what we're avoiding, because the wound is at the top of the pendulum. And there's this unconscious threshold that gets created as a result. And so, and that's what locks us into the pretend world and the grey box, as I was saying. But because we've got access to our focused imagination, and as a result our intuition, what we can do is transform our relationship with the threshold. And instead of it being this red brick wall that inhibits us and locks us into the grey box of the pretend world, it becomes that shimmering veil that we can cross into the magical world. And that's where I was saying that it's our focused imagination that gives us access to our intuition that allows us to cross the threshold. And it's in this world that we build this higher structure that facilitates our ability to create what we love in the magical world and to accelerate along our own transformative journey to live our greatness, to transform into our greatness and to live our royalty. So I'm going to explore how we do that now. And so there are two premises that we embody in order to build this higher structure. And they're the same two premises that I talk about in the subconscious mind video. The first one being that your focus creates your reality, and the second one being that tension seeks resolution. And we wield those two premises within the magical world to build this higher structure in order to create what we love. And so what we do is go through the premises. I either go through the premises myself or I lead people through the premises to lower the volume on your thoughts and feelings, increase the volume on your imagination and intuition so that you can reveal the vision of what you love. And whenever you reveal the vision of what you love, it's always when you're living your royalty in hero's journey and heroine's journey terms. And what we do is, in going through those premises to receive a symbol for the vision of what we love, we then make it up until it rings true, until the resonance of love reveals itself. And that's where I'm always saying that our intuition reveals what we love, and it's going through the premises to step into the vision, to receive a symbol and then make it up that highlights what we love. It's just like it's like opening that shimmering veil or the curtain in front of your heart to present that to you. And then what we do, once we get an insight into the vision, that's where our focus goes. And so then we build tension in relationship to that vision so that we can then resolve the tension and create the vision as a result of resolving the tension. And the way we build tension is by going through the premises to step into current reality. Because what current reality does is reveal the truth of where we're at in relationship to the vision. And there's always two realities that your intuition reveals once you step into current reality with your intuition. And those two realities are your subjective reality and your objective reality. And each of them have a tension that gets formed in relationship to the vision. And the subjective tension, the subjective reality, gets formed or gets created whenever we ask the question how. And whenever we ask the question how, rather than revealing this kind of project plan or milestone, series of milestones or stepping stones that take us to the vision, instead the how question creates this threshold. It's the same red brick wall threshold that I presented horizontally previously. And so it creates this threshold and establishes the subjective reality, because what it does, it leads us down this divergent path by creating this subjective tension. And the reason it does that is because when we ask the question how, it triggers one or more of the 12 core beliefs that we talked about in the vibration video. And then we know from how the subconscious mind works is that when the beliefs get triggered, we have to resolve the tension of those beliefs. And we resolve the tension of those beliefs with one or more of the behaviors from the beliefs that have been triggered. And And when we do that, instead of taking us to the vision of what we love, it takes us to a false vision that keeps us in struggle and survival within the grey box of the pretend world. And this tension we reveal when we step into current reality with our intuition. Because essentially what we're doing is we're still at the top of the pendulum, and we're able to almost like be elevated like in a helicopter at the top of the pendulum, and to be able to look down and to see that divergent path and to see the pathway that your beliefs will want to take you, and how your beliefs want to resolve the tension and where it will lead to. So it's brilliant that intuition reveals that, because without intuition we just blindly go down that path thinking that that's the road to what we love, because our beliefs and our thoughts and feelings create this perception of reality. We just get blinkered, if you will. It's like, yes, that's the thing to do. But then we just keep playing out the same patterns as a result. It just keeps triggering more beliefs, more behaviors, and locks us into that false vision and struggle and survival. But the purpose of revealing that is not to go down there, but to see what not to do. In other words, what tension not to resolve. And so what we want to do then is reveal then the tension that we want to resolve. And that's the tension that has a direct relationship with the vision. And we do that by using the symbolism that we receive in current reality to reveal our objective reality. And in our objective reality, we're still using our access to our focused imagination, and that's what allows us to transform our relationship with the threshold again and transform it into that shimmering veil. Again, that same horizontal shimmering veil, just presenting it slightly differently, but it's the same premise. And in transforming the shimmering veil, we can like part it and look through into the magical world to have a direct relationship with the vision. And in developing a direct relationship with the vision, we establish that creative tension in relationship to the vision. And we've got a great objective measures. Basically, is that one great objective measure at this stage of the training is to use the hero's journey and the heroine's journey framework, because we know that when you resolve the tension with your beliefs, that keeps you locked into the grey box of the pretend world, and the vision, as you can see on the slide, is when you're living your royalty. So your objective reality then is, how are you tracking along your own unique hero's journey or heroine's journey? Are you at your call to adventure? Are you encountering threshold guardians? Have you crossed the threshold? Have you met the wise person? Have you gone into training? Are you facing your demons? Are you receiving your treasure? Are you living your royalty? And that's the thing about the objective reality, is that it allows you to see how you're tracking towards the vision. And the great thing about that tension is that if you're tracking towards the vision, you're gaining momentum. And whereas if you're moving away from the vision, you're building tension, which, as long as the focus is still on the vision, is ultimately going to resolve itself in relationship to the vision. And for me, a really good example of objective reality that we establish intuitively is like using a sat nav to determine, to help you get to your destination. In fact, it's a good example of a higher structure, in that when we establish the vision intuitively, it's like putting the postcode or your zip code into the sat nav. And from that point onwards, the sat nav is then dedicated to serve you to get to your end result, as long as it's still on, obviously. And the objective reality is like the stats of, well, how far away are you? Are you moving towards it? Are you moving away from your destination? And again, it's a good example of a higher structure, because what happens as soon as we put that postcode into the sat nav and it works out the fastest pathway to it, it then locks into 3 satellites in space at thousands of miles from the Earth that triangulate your position to serve you to get to your destination. So it's a really good metaphor because it's exactly the same with establishing this higher structure with your intuition. You're using this greater source of energy like a satellite that serves you to create your end result. And so that's what we do as a second step in building this higher structure. The first step is to establish the vision intuitively. The second step is to establish current reality intuitively. And we spend quite a bit of time here because we really want to build these 2 lines of tension and reveal them. Because in revealing them, then we know which tension to resolve. Because obviously now we want to resolve the tension, and the tension we want to resolve is the creative tension, as opposed to the subjective tension. And we do that by stepping back into the vision with our intuition, by going through the premises again, to step back into the vision and to let the vision inform us of the action to take. And what that does, in doing that, we build a bridge. And that's the third aspect of building this higher structure, is to create a bridge that takes us from current reality to the vision. And what the bridge does, it gets us across the threshold into the magical world. Because what we tend to do without our intuition is we resolve the tension of current reality. And whenever we resolve the tension of current reality, it always keeps us on that side of the threshold and always takes us down that divergent path. Whereas when we step back into the vision, then the vision has the power, and then we resolve the tension by crossing the threshold towards the vision. And what the bridge does, it informs us through our intuition and through the symbolism of the action to take in the magical world. And when we take that action, it also reveals what to let go of that would normally lead us down a divergent path to the false vision. And then when we take that action, what happens is the threshold shifts. And the threshold shifts that one step closer to the vision and resolves whatever tension was there from whatever beliefs were triggered previously. But then you can see that we still haven't created the vision. We still haven't created what we love. We've taken a significant step towards it in the magical world, and we've resolved the tension, but we haven't created it yet. And so what do? What we do is exactly the same process again. We take ourselves through the premises again, step into the vision again, receive a new symbol for the vision. Or you can go back to the symbol that you've received before and embellish it even more. Sometimes I'll use the same symbol. Sometimes I like to get a new symbol to get a different perspective. It really just depends on where I'm at in building the tension of the vision and building my relationship and connection to the vision. And then once I've got more insight into the vision, then I step into current reality again with my intuition, reveal both my subjective reality again, reveal what beliefs are being triggered this time, how my beliefs want to resolve the tension now, and then also reveal my objective reality and see that I've actually moved that one step closer to the vision. I've made some steps along my own hero's journey. And then obviously we then go back to the vision to resolve the tension with the bridge again. And when we do, the bridge takes us more deeply into the magical world. And again, when we take action on that bridge, we build even more momentum in relationship to what we love. But again, there's still that discrepancy. And so we resolve that tension again by stepping back into the vision, by going through the premises, receive a new symbol, work with the previous symbol that you received, go back into current reality intuitively, reveal your subjective and objective tension now, and then go back to the vision to reveal the bridge. And then what will happen is that you'll end up creating the vision of what you love, and in doing so, it resolves any tension. any subjective tension, because you're no longer asking the question, how are you? If you've already created what you love, you don't have to, you receive what you love, as opposed to needing to figure out, well, how am I going to do it? And quite often when we create what we love, because we create it magically, because we're in the magical world, quite often we can look back and go, I have no idea how that happened. It's quite extraordinary what this creates, the magic this higher structure creates. And we never end up creating what we love rationally. It's quite extraordinary, because when we do this, we're shifting the power of the subconscious mind each time. And it's the process of shifting the power in our subconscious mind that creates the vision progressively, and creates it magically. And so ultimately, when we've created the vision, our current reality equals the vision. Our objective reality equals the vision. And you've created what you love. And so that's how we build a higher structure to create what we love. And what I'd love to do now is share a story with you as to how one of my grads has used this. And but before I do share this magical story, what I'll be doing over on Patron, and I want to encourage you to become a patron of the Mystery School, is I'll be actually bringing this to life through an exercise where I'll be leading you through the premises to step into the vision, to receive a symbol for the vision of what you love. And that could be anything that you love. Ultimately, it's great to tune into the vision of you living your royalty, which is what I'll be doing in the exercise. Because when you're living your royalty and you've transformed into your greatness, you're creating everything you love. And it also, as well as revealing your own greatness, it reveals what your greatness would love to create. So I'll be leading you through the premises into the vision, and then I'll lead you through the premises into current reality, reveal the subjective tension, reveal the creative tension, and then I'll be going through that third aspect of leading you back to the vision to receive a bridge. And it's going to be a great resource for you to have, because when you first do this, it's really great to receive and to be led. And to have that resource to have me lead you to the vision, lead you to current reality and the bridge. It's very powerful. Because the nature of intuition too is that it's a team sport. And whereas when we're in our pretend world and our identity, we tend to because we're kind of unconsciously operating from the premise of separation, we tend to go do things on our own, or believe we have to do things on our own. We don't tend to work synergistically and cohesively with others. Or if we do, it's with our beliefs, which I'll explore in more depth in a future video. So I want to encourage you to become a patron of the Mystery School so that you can receive that resource, and also benefit from the other exercises and resources that I've got available on Patron. Because what I'm doing with the videos is making the educational videos available here on YouTube, and then making what I call application videos available on Patron, for everyone who wants to cross the threshold and actually make this happen and actually start creating and utilizing the premises to create what you love. So I wanted to mention that now, rather than right at the end, just so this comes to life for you. But just to give you an example of one of my grads, and there's many magical stories that I can share with you, but this one in particular I really love sharing. This is a lady that trained with me not long after I arrived in the UK, and she is also Australian. She's Croatian Australian, and she'd been living in London for I think 10 years prior, maybe less, I'm not sure. And she was a supply chain management consultant, did a lot of flying, did a lot of traveling, accumulated a lot of points. And what she loved to do every Christmas was to go home and spend time with her family in country Victoria. And so she'd spend 6 weeks over Christmas with her family and then come back again. And once I taught her this, she had this wonderful attitude. I want to see if this shit works. And so she went, well, I've never flown first class back home before, back home to Victoria before. So I'm going to create the end results of flying first class. That's what I would love. And so she got together with another hero partner and tuned in synergistically with a hero partner. And symbolically, the resounding symbolism was the symbol of a telephone. I don't remember the details of it, but ultimately that was the theme. That was the symbol rather, and the theme that emerged from that, or the bridge that emerged from that, was that communication is what's going to serve her to create the vision. So she took action towards it. She went obviously to the airport. She went to check in, and she at the check-in counter she went, I'll act on my bridge, I'll communicate. And she communicated that she would love to get an upgrade to first class. But instead of creating her end result, she encountered her first threshold guardian. And this is where the hero's journey structure really works and serves you as well. And her threshold guardian said, I'm sorry, we don't have any seats available in first class, any upgrade seats. And so consequently, she went into reaction. And this is a very normal phenomenon. It's like, as we're going towards the vision, to go into reaction. I mean, what else are you going to do when you encounter a threshold guardian and the threshold guardian says no? And then that triggered her beliefs. It triggered her powerlessness belief. And she consequently said, this shit doesn't work. And then got all angry, because as the powerlessness belief does, it creates anger. But then she moved towards the boarding gate, and then she found out that the flight was being delayed, and which she got even more angry because it was Christmas, and she knew that if the flight would be too delayed, that they would miss their slot, and she may not get another flight until tomorrow. And but then in amongst this commotion, like while she was waiting, she heard this commotion at the boarding desk. And she heard this woman speaking Croatian, which is her mother tongue. And so out of innocence and curiosity, she, and this is what this creative structure, this higher structure facilitates as well, as the ability to go into innocence. She moved towards the desk and she said to the lady in Croatian, who was obviously trying to communicate to the ground staff on the other side of the counter, something, and she couldn't speak English. And so McGrath had then communicated to her in Croatian and discovered that she was the cause for the flight delay. And the reason she couldn't board was because she checked in some medication that she needed. And she needed this medication before she boarded the long haul flight. And so my grad communicated that to the ground staff. The lady on the other side picked up the phone, communicated to the baggage people and said, do we still have time to board if this lady gets this if you get this medication out of the hold luggage, and then she comes and picks it up. And they said, well, I can't remember the exact period of time, but if they could be here in 10 minutes, then we can still board, we can still take off on time. And so that then got translated to the lady in Croatian, and then the Croatian lady then said to my grad, well, you're going to have to come with me because they're not going to understand me when I get there. And so 1 minute she's there and she's not going to get her end result, and the flight's being delayed, and the next minute she's running through the airport with this woman she's just met, and she's still in her business clothes, getting all hot and sweaty. Like suddenly she's like in this relay race, and they run to the baggage department. There's a baggage department guy with the medication, and they get the medication, run back again, and then they manage to board on time. And everyone's jubilant that they can then take off. And Whereas my grad's there in her normal seat, it was maybe business class seat or premium economy seat, and but she's fuming because now she's hot and sweaty. She's still, she hasn't been upgraded, because what she liked to do was be nice and relaxed and get changed when she's there in more relaxing clothing, and whereas now it was like that was even more. So she's like fuming. This shit definitely does not work. Anyway, a flight attendant comes up and says, "Oh, we've heard that you were responsible for helping us take off on time, and so we'd like to thank you, and there are some people in first class who would like to thank you." And she goes, "Oh, that's very nice for them. They're in first class. That's great." And she said, "Well, I'm not explaining myself properly. There are some people in first class who got together to pay for you to upgrade to first class." And she was like, "What?" Like, how could you possibly plan that? And she went, "Oh, okay." And so she then gathered her things and headed towards first class. And there's always that curtain, there's that shimmering veil, isn't it? And the flight attendant parted the veil for her. She crossed the threshold into first class. And then there are all these musicians and celebrities there who greet her and thank her. And they explained to her that the reason they were happy to get together to pay for her upgrade was that they were flying to Melbourne at Christmas to perform in this Carols by Candlelight event, which is a really big event in Melbourne. And had they missed the flight, they would have missed the event. And so they were happy to pay for her upgrade. And so suddenly she's in first class. But there was another part to this as well. She said, "I want my upgrade to first class and I want pink champagne because I don't drink normal champagne." And she was thinking to herself, "Where's my pink champagne?" And in that moment, the flight attendant came up behind her with a tray with a bottle of pink champagne, which just happened to be her favourite pink champagne. And it's such a great example of what happens when you and how you can create your end results magically. And this wasn't just a coincidence. This happened because she put this higher structure in place beforehand that shifted the power as a result. And with that theme and that bridge of communication facilitated that. Because it wasn't what she believed. It wasn't the communication at the check-in counter. It was the communication in her mother tongue in Croatian with this woman that facilitated it. So such a great example of creating what you love. But then the thing is that it creates continued momentum, because when you start creating what you love, then you go, what else would I love? And the thing with my grad is that what she always really wanted was to have a relationship and a family. And she hadn't had a relationship for many years. And in fact, all the flying and the corporate work she was doing didn't facilitate that. And so she basically kept putting this structure in place so that she could create that. And what it led to was her creating her soulmate, her creating this beautiful home in Cardiff, her creating this beautiful family as a result, where she progressively transformed her life as a result. And consequently, it propelled her around her heroine's journey to live her royalty and create what she loved. So you can tell why I wanted to share this story. And it's such a great example of what you can create when you put this higher structure in place. And like I said, there's so many other stories that I could share of other grads, of myself. But I thought that's a really good one to share in the video. So that's what I wanted to cover today. And you can tell I get quite excited and passionate about it, and because it works. I mean, that's the thing, is at the end, she went, "It really works." And it does, because of the structure that you put in place, because it kind of brings in both the masculine and the feminine, in that there's the masculine in terms of the structure, the higher structure you put in place, and then there's the feminine aspect of the intuition, of going to the vision, of going to current reality and going to the bridge that presents that. So thank you very much. Thanks again for joining me today. And I hope you've got lots of value out of this creativity video. And again, I want to encourage you to become a patron of the Mystery School so that you can get access to this resource of me leading you through the premises And also I'm in the process of creating this fantastic, vibrant community of people who want to be trained in their greatness, who want to go on their own unique hero's journey and heroine's journey. So you'll also be joining that vibrant community. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video, where I'll be exploring the theme of living mythically and diving into more depth as to how your greatness created your identity and created what I call the framework of your identity. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye for now.